The slap echoed through the small diner, loud enough to stop every fork midair. The old woman stumbled back, her glasses sliding down her nose. "Watch where you're going, lady," the young man barked, his tone full of arrogance. He was tall, mid-20s, leather jacket, gold chain, thought he owned the world. The old woman steadied herself, her trembling hands clutching her purse. She whispered softly, "You didn't have to do that, son." Her voice was gentle, but her eyes carried a quiet fire. The bully laughed. "Son, don't call me that, Grandma. Maybe next time, you'll learn to move when people tell you to." His friends snickered from the booth, their phones already out, recording. The diner manager came rushing over, nervous. "Sir, please calm down," but the bully waved him off. "What? I just taught her some manners." He sat back down, proud of himself, smirking as the old woman turned and walked slowly to her booth. But what he didn't notice was the man sitting 2 tables away. Mid-30s, quiet, clean suit, dark eyes that didn't blink once during the whole thing. He watched the scene without a word, his coffee untouched, his jaw tight. The old woman sat across from him, her hand shaking as she reached for a napkin. "Mama," he said softly, his voice low and dangerous, "did he just hit you?" She looked down, avoiding his eyes. "It's fine, baby. Some people don't know who they're hurting." But her son leaned forward, his tone calm, too calm. "They're about to find out." The bully laughed again, still bragging to his friends. Then the man in the suit stood up, slowly. Every eye in the diner followed him. He slipped his black gloves on, took 1 step forward, and said in a voice that made the air feel heavy, "Which one of you touched my mother?" The diner went dead silent. Even the hum of the neon sign outside seemed to fade. The bully's smirk faltered for the first time as the man's cold eyes locked on him. "Hey, man, chill," he said, forcing a laugh. "It was just a joke." The man didn't blink. "You hit my mother," he said quietly, almost like he was confirming it to himself. The bully shifted nervously. "Look, I didn't know she was your mom, all right. She bumped into me." Before he could finish, the man pulled out a chair and sat down at the bully's table, his movements slow and deliberate. "You don't hit women," he said calmly, "especially not elders. That's not a mistake, that's weakness." The bully looked around for help, but his friends suddenly found their phones very interesting. One even slid quietly out of the booth and walked toward the exit. The man's voice softened, but the calm made it worse. "Do you know who I am?" The bully frowned. "No, and I don't care." The man leaned closer, his breath cold. "Good. Because it'll hurt more when you find out." He glanced toward his mother, who sat quietly, watching but saying nothing. She didn't look scared, she looked tired, like she'd seen this side of her son before. The man stood again, adjusted his cufflinks, and signaled with 2 fingers toward the window. Outside, 2 black SUVs pulled up silently, engines rumbling low. Men in dark coats stepped out, their faces unreadable. The bully's jaw dropped. "What the hell is this?" The man looked down at him, voice quiet but sharp as glass. "You laid a hand on the wrong woman." And with that, the diner door opened, and every customer knew, whatever was about to happen, it wasn't going to be loud. It was going to be final. The door creaked as the men in dark coats stepped inside, the bell above it giving a single nervous chime. The bully's face went pale. His friends slipped away, pretending to be strangers. One of the men whispered something in the suited man's ear, but he just nodded, eyes still fixed on the boy. "Outside," he said softly. No yelling, no threats, just quiet authority that made everyone in the diner's spine tighten. The bully shook his head fast. "And no, man. I didn't mean to hit her. She bumped into me, I swear." The man looked down at him, then at his mother. "Mama, did you bump into him?" She shook her head once, slow and firm. That was all he needed. The suited man leaned closer, speaking so only the bully could hear. "I give people one chance to tell the truth. You just wasted yours." He stood straight again, eyes turning cold. "Take him," he said simply. The men in coats grabbed the bully by the arms as he shouted, "Wait. I'll apologize. I'm sorry." The old woman rose from her seat, calm as ever. "Son," she said softly, "don't hurt him too bad." Her son stopped, turning to her with a faint smile. "I won't, Mama. I just want him to understand something." They led the bully outside into the parking lot, the cold night air biting against his face. The SUV's headlights flashed on, cutting through the darkness. The man in the suit stepped forward, hands in his pockets. "You think strength is in your fists," he said quietly, circling the trembling boy. "But real strength is knowing who to protect, not who to hurt." The bully swallowed hard. Who are you?" he whispered. The man stopped walking, leaned close, and whispered a name that made even his own men stiffen. "Dominic Reyes." The bully blinked. "Reyes, the one who runs this city," Dominic finished for him. "And the woman you hit, is the only person who's ever told me to stay good." The bully's knees went weak. Dominic straightened, his voice turning to ice. "Now, you'll remember her face every time you think about raising your hand again." He nodded once to his men, not a command for violence but for fear. They opened the car door, and Dominic said quietly, "Drive him home. Make sure he never forgets who gave him that mercy." The SUVs rolled out of the parking lot, engines low, tires crunching over gravel as the night swallowed them. Inside, the bully sat trembling in the back seat, pressed between two silent men in suits. One of them finally spoke, voice steady as stone. "You're lucky his mother was there," he said. "Without her, you'd be in the river right now." The boy swallowed hard, his voice breaking. "I swear, I didn't mean it, I didn't know." The man cut him off coldly. "That's your problem. You never know who you're disrespecting. Maybe next time you'll think before you raise your hand." Meanwhile, back in the diner, Dominic sat across from his mother again. The waitress refilled their coffee, hands still shaking slightly. "Ma'am, sir, is everything okay now?" she asked quietly. The old woman smiled gently. "Everything's fine, dear. Thank you." When the waitress left, she turned to her son. "I told you not to lose your temper." Dominic sighed, taking a slow sip of coffee. "I didn't, Mama. I handled it." She gave him that look only mothers have, the one that could cut through any man, no matter how powerful. "Handled it? You scared half the diner." Dominic smirked, eyes glinting faintly. "Fear keeps fools from trying again." His mother leaned forward, voice soft but firm. "And kindness keeps you human, Dominic. Don't let the world take that from you." For a moment, the tough mask slipped. He nodded slowly. "Yes, ma'am." Just then, one of his men walked in, whispered something in his ear, and handed him a phone. Dominic looked down. A message blinked on the screen, a video. The same bully, now home, crying on camera, apologizing to the woman he'd hit. The caption read, "When you find out the lady you slapped raised the most feared man in the city." Dominic exhaled, a slow half-smile curling on his face. "Looks like word travels fast." His mother sighed, stirring her tea. "Let it travel. Maybe it'll teach a few people what real respect looks like." Dominic looked at her, his voice softer now. "You know, Mama, every empire I built to protect you." She smiled, touching his hand. "Then, son, that means you already won."